Welcome to Here's the Story, a show that brings student affairs to life by sharing the authentic voices and lived experience of those who are shaping the field every day. I am your host, Helena Gardner. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I have served in higher education for 20 plus years at multiple institutions. And in fact, I'm sitting in my office right now. I live my life as a mom, a sister, a daughter, a friend, and a mentor. We're going to dive into today's story in just a minute, but first, I want to share something new we're launching at Student Affairs Now. Student Affairs Now has always been more than a podcast. It's a learning community for educators who care deeply about the future of higher education and student affairs. So for the past 5 years, we've created space for conversations that inform and inspire and affirm all of the work that we do. Now, we're launching a Student Affairs Now Patreon. Yes, a Patreon to create even more ways for our community to engage, connect, and keep conversations going. You can learn more about us by joining the Patreon, and I'm going to read it because it's brand new. This is brand new. So you can find us at patreon.com/student affairs now and really just continue to explore, to learn, and to grow in these changing times. That's what we need. That's what we need as a profession, is to be in shared space so that we can keep stretching our minds and figuring these things out. And I'm gonna do one more thing before we get to the magic of today's guest. I'm going to introduce our sponsor, Folio. Folio designs and manufactures furniture specifically for residence halls and high-use student housing. With more than 10,000 completed residence hall projects and 35 years of experience, they're one of the most trusted names in the space. And it's special because today we are joined by one of Folio's own and a friend, both a long-term friend, like we have been in multiple states and was like, oh, hey, you work here? Oh, I work here. And connected and found ourselves connected at my current institution when I came here a few years ago. And one of the things that I enjoy most about this person, because I'm gonna let him introduce himself, is that not only does he keep it real, he cares about people, he thinks about people, he remembers people. And if you got any questions, he will answer those for you. Um, in a real human being kind of way. And if you need to be snatched up and checked, he'll do that for you as well. But mostly, he is my guest today. I am excited to be here and I'm grateful that he took a little time. And I'm going to turn it over to my friend Jacquez, and please introduce yourself.
How's it going? How's it going? Thank you for that introduction. I wasn't expecting that, so appreciate it. Like Alina said, Jacquez, I use he, him pronouns. I am from the south side of Chicago, and this is me. I talk about this anywhere I go, anywhere, and anytime I'm in community with people, especially our people, I talk about me being from the south side. Now, Dr. Crystal Lay, she from the West Side, and I know y'all heard her talk about that. And so
Oh, so we
sometimes,
get all in
we
Chicago. We're
go
gonna get
back
all.
and forth a little bit because she's from the West Side, I'm from the South Side, and we don't always get along. But it's okay. In moments where we need to, we can.
I love that, and I love that you even point out, um, a former guest. Because shout out to Crystal Lay.
Shout
I
out.
really enjoy Dr. Crystal. That was a great episode for me, for us, for sharing experiences. But you just continue to point out that the field is like this big. And
Very simple.
so we all know each other in some way. And if we didn't know each other, we almost did. But I'm from Detroit, so I don't know about that
Exactly.
Chicago stuff. I don't know about that Chicago stuff because we need to play that. But Jacquez, I know you got a story to tell today. So what you dropping on us today? Take it over.
So, when I thought about doing the podcast, I wanted to make sure I was intentional and make sure that I was thinking about where I am right now and what has gotten me through tough times, what has gotten me through situations, what has gotten me through hardships, and as folks of color, as Black folks, these things tend to happen often. So,
Mm.
and I always had to find something to lean on or to anchor me as I try to continue on this journey, right? So today I feel like I'm preaching. I feel like we in church.
You see, I set up straight. I got
Right,
my
right, right.
pen together,
Don't
like, let
worry,
me
we're
make
gonna
a
hold
note.
an offering after this.
Mhm,
Get ready.
mhm,
No, but for real though, I think something that I've been reflecting on recently is this idea of faith.
mhm.
And so me, I was born and raised in church my whole life. I sang in a choir in church. I did so much. Anything you think about church, I was there. To this day, I love if you
I
follow
feel
me on
like I
social
saw on
media,
social media you might have been there this weekend.
I was at church Sunday
Mhm.
at Great Harvest Missionary Baptist Church in Chicago. Shout out to them. But anyway, in my life, I've always been in church, and that has been something that has grounded me. Not the idea of church or the idea of religion, but my faith, right? And when I talk about faith, I'm talking about Jesus Christ. Just to be clear, and this is me, this is my beliefs. What I'm not when we talk about faith, sometimes, especially now, I'm not talking about this evangelical idea that relates to politics and that. No, 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 no. I'm talking about Jesus, who his hair was woolly. You know what I mean? And so that we know what wool looks like. And so that's what I'm talking about. And so this idea of faith is resilience. And so how do we think about that? Like something that you believe in and something that anchors you can help you be resilient in times. So that's the message today. That's the story. So Jacquez, me, I'm not gonna talk about myself in third person because I think that would be weird. But I went to Western Illinois University. Again, I'm from the south side of Chicago, so um, I stayed in state because it was cheaper and it was just easier for me to get to school.
Mhm.
Love Western. I bleed purple and gold. Anybody know I talk about this school like I've worked there for years. Anytime there's something happening, I got on purple and gold. I'm repping the school. Clearly, I got my flag right there. I didn't put this there for the podcast either. That was already there. Um, at Western Illinois, I majored in law enforcement, minored in African American studies, and I'll tell you about the reason why the law enforcement. I was an RA for 3 years. I won RA of the year my last year. You know what I mean? Some light, some small. I was president of the gospel choir. Hey, I don't think you knew that. Maybe you did. I don't know. Yeah, I was president. I sang in the gospel choir all 4 years in college. We went on tour. We did a lot of things, and I was president the last 2 years, I believe. Um, and my college experience is something that I will never forget, and I think a lot of folks who go to college, good and bad, you remember everything, and they teach you things as you go forward. In college, I had the opportunity to work as an advisor or at the advisory office for law enforcement, where I was at the front desk, and this is truly how I got to know people and how I built this confidence to be talking to folks that I have no idea. So juniors and seniors and all these people will come in like, oh man, I need to take this course. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, you take this course. I'm a first year student. I have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm like, yeah, yeah, you got it. But this was my first job on a college campus. And so I did that. And it was a good experience. I got to know the advisors and it truly helped me
Yeah.
understand this idea of law enforcement and what classes I need to take. While I was there, I experienced um pockets of racism, but I didn't understand it, right? I didn't know that this was happening, right? Being from Chicago, you're surrounded by folks who look like you. So you don't really see it often. Granted, it happens, right? But it's until you are exposed to it, then you begin to see like, oh, this is what it is. And so I worked at a desk. I made appointments for students to see their advisors. I helped some students choose classes, things like that. And in this role, that's what I was hired to do. And then I had this full-time person who was next to me in this role. Cool, cool. We never had any issues. I'm a first year student, so I don't know anything, right? Yeah, whatever you say, I'll do it. Um, I noticed that it was me and another student, and I noticed that I never had the opportunity to work at the desk. I was always in the back shredding for some strange reason. And I was like, yeah, I'll go shred, like whatever. So I would always be doing that. And it just felt strange to me because I would come in and the other student worker would be at the desk and we like change shifts or whatever. And then when I sat down, I had to go work in the shredding room for some reason. Whatever. I shredded these papers because I was getting paid. You know what I mean? Like whatever. And it was one day I was sitting at the desk with a full-time employee of the school, and she mentioned just conversation. You know, she was from Macomb, Illinois, and if you know anything about Macomb, it's nothing but cornfields. It's very rural. And she just talked a little bit about her experience growing up in Macomb, and this is an older woman. And one of the last things she said was that, you know, here in Macomb, and I'm a preface this, so prepare yourself. But here in Macomb, you know, we used to burn down Black people houses. And this woman said this to me, and I'm sitting here like, I didn't know how to respond. Like I didn't know what to say because I'm shocked. Why did you feel the need to tell me this? You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, we used to do this, but we don't do it now. But yeah, we used to burn down Black people houses and da 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 da. And I didn't know what to do with that information. And so it left me feeling odd. It left me feeling strange. And luckily I have built community with the folks I work with the director, like they all knew me. And so I went back to tell my RA, hey, like this weird thing is strange, right? This weird thing happened to me. And my RA is currently was in higher ed too. I think he has since left the field, but we had a conversation and he talked to me about talking to my boss, the director. So I did that, and this person was moved, right? I still worked there all 4 years in college, right? And it was still an experience that I didn't understand yet, but I was able to understand it when I left college. And it always came back to me of, wow, you experienced that and you had a sense of resilience and you didn't know it, right? You
Mhm.
kept going, right? Um, and then I joined the gospel choir and I talked about me being in the gospel choir. And I think that was a point in college, my freshman year, where I was able to connect my faith again to get me through these struggles subconsciously that I didn't even know that I was dealing with. You know what I mean? I mean, just in general, you can think about college, you think about experiences of Black and brown folks and what people say to you and things like that. And I didn't understand fully what I was experiencing until I went to grad school. But the gospel choir was able to boost up my faith and make me understand what do I believe in? Like, who is this Jesus guy? Granted, yes, I was born in church and raised in church, but it's not until you get to understand him for yourself. And now you're away from home. You know what I mean? Now you don't have a choice but to be
Yeah.
like, all right, it's on me. My mama can't help me. Um, so it really truly grounded me and made me understand that this is not normal, right? I shouldn't experience things like this, and I shouldn't always have to rely on my faith to get me through certain things that shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Um, and so another a story or another instance, and when in college, my sophomore year, my brother was sentenced to 77 years in jail. It was my sophomore year in college. And again, my mom is a single parent,
You said 77.
7'7". hmm And my brother is 10 years older than me. You don't need to know my age because I'm getting really old. So just chill out, everybody. Do the math. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, my brother was sentenced to 77 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit. And so, again, being from Chicago, being on the south side of Chicago, my mom did a great job in raising all three of her sons, and I'm the youngest, right? And I find great pride in being the youngest child. You know, they all think I'm spoiled. Well, call it what you want to. It is what it is. I'm the
You
favorite.
probably are. You probably are.
Um, but when you think about the city of Chicago and the immediate surrounding suburbs of Chicago, sometimes it's very prejudiced, right? Because you got these inner youth people coming to our suburbs or whatever. And so my brother had been through the system a couple times, and this judge remembered him. And he was charged, the case that he was charged on carried a minimum of 7 years and a maximum of 77. That's a big difference, right? And he got the latter end of it. And so again, that was a moment in my life where what is going on? You know what I mean? I'm a sophomore in college. And then I started to second guess myself. Why am I here? Like my mom is angry. My mom is going through it. And I'm in Macomb, Illinois, you know what I'm saying? Going out drinking. You know what I mean? And so I had a moment of I feel like I'm being selfish. You know, my
Yeah.
brother is experiencing this and I'm in college, right? And then again, it brings me back to this gospel choir thing that was there that actually saved me, right? And what I was feeling, what I was thinking, and reminded me that, things will get better. You don't understand it now, right? And since then, my brother is still in jail, right? And that I was in college a while ago. However, we have been to court multiple times, multiple appeals, and now he's on the end of this, where he'll be getting out soon. You know what I mean? And I could get emotional, but I won't. But it is something that is truly amazing to think about. For my mom specifically, like that's the piece that I care most about, right? Because this mom, I'm a mama's boy. You know what I mean? Like I'm probably the mama's boy. My other two brothers aren't. And so to see her have a relief makes me feel good. You know what I mean? And when I think about that story or that instance, again, it's like I shouldn't be experiencing this. Like this isn't normal. For a sophomore human in college to have to be thinking about what's going on at home that's so detrimental to his family. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Somebody's being taken away and essentially given life in jail.
Yeah.
That's what it is. My brother is 10 years older than me, right? That's life, right? Um, and so I reflected on that and I think about that often, just that experience and me being in college and how I felt. I think I kind of put it away a little bit, but how I felt the selfishness and which is I wasn't being selfish, right? But it's just a natural feeling that you get.
Yeah.
But this idea of I gotta keep pushing, right? Because this is happening with my brother. I still gotta graduate. I can't fall into the system. You know what I mean? I still got to keep pushing because my mom is pushing for me to be different and to make a difference, right? And so I did. Obviously, I graduated, and I went on to get my master's degree in higher ed. Um, so when I think about again faith, the definition of faith is it's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now, some people can get that because how I use faith, I use it as if it's my religion, right? Because when we think
Yeah.
about religion, religion is literally something you do over and over again. That's
Yeah.
really it, right? There's no umph to it, like my mom would say. That it doesn't mean anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But faith is something that you can believe in. You may not see it, but you know that this is real, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so throughout my college experience, throughout that time in my life, right, that was a huge moment for me and understanding what faith is and not getting the two things mixed up. Last story. So I go to college, I graduate, I go get my master's degree in higher education. I'm out in the world. I'm like, yes, we made it. We're gonna do the damn thing. We're gonna be out
You
here.
got to meet me out in these
Right, yeah,
streets.
I did. When I went to Arizona, I was able to meet the greatest right here, Helena. Um, and I experienced things that I think people shouldn't have to experience, right? And grad school really helped me be reflective, even though
Yeah.
I hate reflecting. And my one of the professors, Dr. Jane Summers, I would talk about reflection in class all the time and say, this is really stupid. Huh?
I am incredibly surprised. We will talk about that
Oh
post.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
know, I know.
incredibly
You would
surprised.
I know it's very surprising because I reflect so
Yeah.
much, but
Yeah.
I hated reflecting in class. I don't know why, because she would always make us write. And I'd be like, I just wrote anyway, we talk about grad school later. But I became very, very reflective on my identities as a Black man and what that meant for its predominantly white institutions in student affairs and in housing, right?
Mhm.
I am a woo. That's my number one. What is it? Is that Myers-Briggs? No.
No, that's Strength Finder.
Yes, Strength Finders. I'm a woo. That's my number one strength, and all of mine are really in relationship building. So woo and communication are my top two.
Hmm.
And so winning others over is my thing. Like I can do it with my eyes closed, which is probably why I'm in sales now. But again, I was on the orientation team. I was an RA. I was president of gospel choir. I'm in housing.
Yeah,
I can just talk to people. I can engage. I can relate, regardless of who you. I can try to relate to you.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's a strength of mine. But it also people can use that in a negative way to get what they need from the job. And
yeah,
so my experience in higher ed was a little rocky because I was starting to realize that, am I going to this conference and presenting, or am I on the recruitment team because you think I can actually recruit the folks, or am I on the recruitment team uh, because of my identity and I can recruit the folks, and I can bring them in, right? And so I had this battle, internal battle of I'm out here recruiting folks to come to this institution. I don't even believe in the institution though. Like I've lost that. You know what I mean? Like how can I bring you here and I'm struggling as a human to be successful, to do what I need to do, but I'm still recruiting folks that look like me. You know what I mean? And that could be normal for a lot of POCs when you're on never went TPE. I loved going to
yeah,
TPE.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I begin to reflect on why am I going? You know, what is in it for me, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so I experienced that, and I made the decision that this is not how I want to do this work. I want to make a shift. I want to focus on me. I want to focus on how do I better the lives of folks who are in this field. And so I began to do research about racial battle fatigue. So if you ever heard that term, Dr. William Smith, he actually worked at Western Illinois, but he works at the University of Utah now. He coined the term racial battle fatigue, and it was something that really struck me to my core of what does this mean? And this is what I've been feeling the whole time, right? Of I'm tired and I gotta support my brother over here or my sister over here, um, who black or brown, whatever, or whatever the marginalized identity is, I'm going to support you. But then you take that on, and now that's secondary trauma that I've taken on, right? And so I begin to reflect on what does this mean for me and why do I need to experience this, right? And then I go back to this idea of faith and being resilient, right? My faith was able to remind me that you're going through this for a reason. There's a purpose behind this, and there are learning moments. And in the moment, you won't see it, right? My last institution I worked at, I was down and out to my core, like to my core. It was probably the worst I've ever felt. My dignity, my sanity, my happiness, my joy was gone. It was taken, it was robbed from me. And I didn't understand that. But in the end, my faith said, you got this. You're in this season for a reason. Again, you will understand it by and by, as the church folks say, but you'll understand it
And
at a later moment. And so in general, I think it's important for us or folks to find something that you believe in and whatever that could be, whatever that looks like for you. I'm not telling people that you need to be believing in God. Do your thing, right? Whatever floats your boat. But if there is something that you believe in, whether it's spirituality, whether it is God, find it and let it be your anchor, right? Because it truly will get you to a place that you can see the light, even whatever is happening around you, you'll still be able to, like, you know what? I can make it because this said this, or this, I was reminded by this scripture or whatever, I can still make it. So that's my story. I truly believe in this idea of faith, and this idea that faith is the sum, no, resistance is the sum of your faith, right? Because I have faith and I believe in it, I don't like I am resilient, right? I have to be resilient. You know what I mean?
Thank you for that. So I had this, I might have had this conversation with you before. I had this conversation about realizing the moment I realized that there was challenge to grit and resilience.
Hmm.
I understand. I understand the story. For those who don't know, I really encourage you to go do your research on it because that's not the labor I'm gonna give today. The labor I'm gonna give today is knowing until experiencing the controversy. Now I give a little bit of folks having to be strong for all the wrong reasons, but living a life of being real proud of my resiliency, of being real proud. I'll go with really here for the sake of saying, proper English, really proud of my resilience. And I did that real and really thing because I know where I come from. I know what my journey is like. And sometimes resilience comes from me being real, not really real,
Right.
from understanding the tongue and the native language of which I speak.
Right.
But knowing that the ability to persevere, to try again and to try one more time, um, was like a superpower.
Hmm.
And then the day I was met with, well, you shouldn't be proud of that, being really conflicted
Hmm.
because I don't know, I don't think I've ever really understood by and by until you just said it that way. So thank you
It
for that
makes sense.
because life had been
Yeah,
by
yeah.
and by,
Right, right.
right? And it had been like if you're gonna make it, you have to keep going.
Hmm.
But to also know that that light is only on because the faith matches the belief that I can.
Hmm.
I just appreciate the pause. I
Yeah,
appreciate the big pause in knowing that resiliency doesn't come without faith.
yeah,
I also want to appreciate knowing you and knowing some stories that your two stories gave examples, but there are examples. Maybe it was three examples you put in there, but there are
yeah.
examples that you didn't speak of.
Hmm.
There is an example that will come to you, unfortunately, at any point in the remainder of the rest of the day
Right.
that will require you to continue to practice resiliency and require you to lean into and on faith. So I thank you for sharing it because in a way that it is not my labor to explain today, sometimes it can be our labor to have to demonstrate through examples
Yeah, yeah.
that what happened actually happened.
Hmm.
So I appreciate you just naming this is about faith and this is about resiliency.
Yeah,
This is not about the what,
exactly. Yep.
because it's unchanging.
Right.
So this doesn't take me to my question. So thank you for playing that game. So when you started the story, I was like, young Jacquez. Then I was like, young Jacquez, why you got that experience? But also, a couple weeks ago, was doing a session in the academic building on campus, and I'm walking by this big classroom. And as I walk by the classroom, just this got a big window. So I'm looking, I can see, so I'm looking at what they do. So I'm just looking, walking
Yeah.
by. Now, I will name that I noticed other brown skinned beings. What I want to talk about is the one black man that I saw in the space.
Hmm.
And it was a big classroom. Like it was a massive classroom. It was a nice walk the length of the window. And when I saw him, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I continued to the restroom, got to the restroom, and I thought about why did that wow me when I'm going to return to a space and also be the only black young
Right.
person
Right. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
space? Right. So I had to say, like, Helena, why does that stand out to you?
Hmm.
But it did for me because I think about what that labor, what that resiliency in my package of faith has to
Hmm.
look like to keep going
Right.
and how much I don't even notice it anymore
Hmm.
because it's a way of life to exist.
Yeah.
How for this young person, I'm looking and I'm like, wow, like this what you're doing today on this Friday? That's
Hmm.
crazy. But you probably do it often on Fridays. And this is the first time I'm noticing, but I wonder how many people notice. And the part I didn't add is that it was apparent they were doing group work.
Hmm.
He was at a table by himself.
Mm.
Now I'm on the outside. I don't know what they're
Right,
talking
right.
about. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if he like the worst group project participant that had ever been in a group project and don't
Right,
nobody want to
right,
work. I don't know what the story is.
right.
But the story that I saw in just my short walk was like, man, if he looked up at me, I would give him a little head
Mhm.
nod, like, you got it. You know, you got it. But I'm curious, what would you share to this random person who doesn't even know what we're talking about? Like, what's a thought that you would give him as it relates to faith and resiliency that you now know, having taken a journey forward, going through some things? Like, what is something you would say to young him as if he was young Jacquez?
Yeah. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Boom, boom.
I, you know, sometimes I'm gonna answer this in two different ways because sometimes I've been told that I'm not empathetic. And sometimes I know that empathy is not on my. I
So
know.
that's not in your top.
Oh no, no,
I
no,
don't
no.
think
It's
that's
probably
in your
like
top
30.
order.
What? How many is 34? It's probably like 33. I don't know. I'm kidding. It's not that low. But empathy is something that I had to learn with while supervising, right?
Okay.
That I need to lead with empathy because my natural response always is yes, and
Yeah.
this is happening and it is terrible. 100%. And I agree. And tomorrow the sun is shining and it is a new day. And that you know what I mean? Like it comes off as "Jack, really? I hear you. And so I've been told that, and so now I've learned to be like, yes, let me sit in this space with you too. But at some point, I'm gonna say it's time for us to get up because we got to keep going. And our ancestors have taught us that you can't sit and waddle in this. You have to. You don't have another choice, actually. The world is you're already behind, and the world is gonna leave you. You know what I mean? So what I would say to
Mm.
the young me or this young person is um believe in yourself. You got it, regardless, right? You're sitting by yourself or you're the only one. Um, you got it. Believe in yourself and keep going, right? And I think a lot of times there are going to be potholes in the road or
Mm.
obstacles and things like that, and we're going to go right into it. But we will always come out, even if we're wet, if we're hurt, and behind, but we will still come out glorious and victorious. Because one, I might I just add, we are kings and queens. Just let me just throw that out there. It's March 4th. I don't care, right? But we come from that, and so
Yeah.
we exude that in our existence in general.
Mm.
But keep going. Whatever it is, find what anchors you and keep moving. Always. Right. And it gets hard. It is hard. Like I can't sit here and say that it's not hard. It is extremely I'm
Yeah.
even in this moment right now. I'm talking to me in this moment that
In
Jacquez, you
this
got to
moment, I
keep
felt like you was
you
talking
going.
to me, right? Like I felt like you was,
Yeah.
because a little bit of like not having that moment of like, girl, you sitting in the space in the same way. You can miss it in the
Yeah.
keep going. You can miss it in the resiliency. Like you said, younger you working at the desk kind of missed it
Yep.
until you saw it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you see it, I feel like it can become a distraction, right?
Hmm.
It can easily take you down because it just is it's awful, it's wrong. And you know, epigenetically, we're the ones that made it. So
Yeah.
it's in us to keep going. That is not at the exchange, right, of the yuck,
Yeah.
right? Like we're not here for the yuck, but the yuck comes unfortunately
Hmm.
until the systems fold. These are the systems of which we are oppressed, suppressed, living within,
Yeah.
with the under. However it goes, and some days it hurts to keep going. Some days
That's
you don't have choice, and
and some
you
days you
know,
don't
as
know
your
why
mama said,
you don't know why you keep going. You don't even why you're going. And
you don't know why you're going, but
you don't know where you're going.
you don't know where. You don't know where, but you know that.
Yeah.
You keep going. And as your mom said, like I just thought it was cute, and I love that you bring your mom into it. And shout out to Jacquez's mom for supporting her boys. Um, Sometimes you do it with no because
Mm-hmm.
keeping going, you
Yep.
also don't also have
Yep.
that extra to give, but you showed up today. And a little bit on that particular Friday, I looked at that student and what I said on my way back was literally literally intended. Like we showed up today.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna do it again tomorrow because we are here. And even though our race starts, right, my hand literally disappeared. And our
Right.
race
Right.
starts over
Yeah.
there. Um, we're deserving and we belong. And I truly know that I always knew that. I want to say in front of all the people, that was reinforced for me during my understanding of that very hard time.
Yeah.
So I think you, unfortunately, at the trauma that you will continue to live with, I think you are still reminding other people how important it is to know that you have place and you belong, even if your sense of is off.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or belong is on point.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and I appreciate being here with you. Like I said, it never goes away, but watching your sense
Mm-hmm.
move in a different direction,
Yeah.
and one more time on the sense, and that it becomes your common sense. Because
Yep.
common sense is not common, but when
It's
you
not.
get it, you
Yep.
collect them all and you keep them. So
Yep.
thank you for that. We're gonna wind down on time,
Okay.
but also wanna real cheesy and young. And this is where my son would say I'm probably cringy. Because one of my favorite lyrics in this young people's music is similar to what you said. Every day the sun don't shine, but that's why I love them all. And when Glorilla said that, it was a space for me as an older person to be like, yes, young people, through all of this, you talk that talk.
Yeah.
You get a chance to do it again. And by the grace of God, you get a chance to do it one more time. And so I thank you for sharing with us that resilience is, we're going to see if that sun coming out tomorrow. Right. And we
Absolutely.
both from places where we get some winters and we don't get no sun. And
Right.
sometimes
Right.
it's
Right.
rain. But we understand that, well, off podcast, when I get to talking my talk, when you are of the sun's energy, it ain't nothing like the sun reminding you, recharging you, and keeping you moving forward. So thank you for
Yeah.
this message of resiliency. Thank you for this message of faith. And thank you for reminding folks that if your faith is not within Jesus, if perhaps you're not quite ready for the woolly hair, Jesus, if it is not in God, however you find your center,
Yep.
in these times, all the time, what I hear from you is you find that center. If you call that, what do they call it? Your value proposition is in your value proposition. If it is a little bit more simplistic for you that is in your goals, put it over in your goals. But
Yeah.
whatever it is, as you said, like buy and buy, you
Yeah.
get there. So I appreciate that word. I appreciate you sharing young Jacquez, older Jacquez, and naming the constant is in us.
Mm-hmm.
The constant is always in us. It's poured into us through many ways, through our community, through our raising, through our upbringing, but mostly through our acknowledgement
Yeah.
that we have that same light inside of us, and we can
Yeah.
look at it in ourselves. Lastly, I know you. These people getting to know you. Thank you for lifting your brother up in the spaces where you can help change the narrative
Mm-hmm.
for him.
Absolutely.
Um, I just appreciate you doing that. And when he is able to share in his glory,
You'll be on the
I
podcast.
hope that he reminds you that you did the right thing by continuing to keep going and reinforcing for your mother that she didn't make no mistakes. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to the mamas. Shout out to the mamas. On that note, I want to thank you for your time today. I'm going to circle back and do one more shout out to Folio. Shout out to Folio. Jacquez, you can shout him out. You want to say
Let's
shout out to
go,
Folio?
Polio. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Go. Folio specializes in furniture for residence hall spaces that assist in creating functional, welcoming environments for college campuses. With over 10,000 completed residence hall projects and 35 years of hands-on experience, they bring serious expertise to student housing from design and through long-term durability. You can learn more about Folio at folio.com. You can reach out to Jacquez. He can help get you connected in your regions, whatever you need. But if you got, how's it go? If you got
You got a
questions,
question, reach out.
reach out. This has been Here's the Story, part of the Student Affairs Now family. We are so glad you joined us today. Sometimes on Here's the Story, we laugh, we cry, we learn, commiserate, we celebrate, and we always try to show up and be exactly who we are as being a part of the student affairs experience. If you have a story, and we all got a story, if you have a story, please consider sharing with us by leaving a 2-minute pitch via voice file at the studentaffairsnow.com/here's the story. If you know how to find me, reach out to me. I like listening to stories. I'm gonna hear it. If you know my co-hosts, reach out to them as well. But here's the thing: don't let your story go silent. This episode will be edited by the great Nat Ambrosi. Thank you for making us look good and sound as good as we do. I'm a fan of looking good every day, so thank you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we at Student Affairs Now have recently launched Student Affairs Now Patreon. Student Affairs Now has always been more than a podcast. It's a learning community for people who care deeply about higher education and student affairs. I would offer, it's also a place for people who just like to learn, listen, and expand their own growth. For the past 5 years, we've created space for conversations that inform, inspire, and affirm the work educators are doing across the field. And we're incredibly grateful for our listeners, for our guests, and collaborators who help this community go. Patreon will give us a chance to create even more ways for you to engage with the community, including discussion guides, a facilitated book club, bonus content, and opportunities to shape future discussion. If these conversations have ever sparked an idea for your work or helped you feel more connected to others in the field, we love to have you join us there. You can learn more and join the community at patreon.com/student affairs. I messed that up. Let's run that back. Patreon.com/student affairs now. Again, this has been Here's the Story, where I selfishly get the opportunity to pull in my friends until y'all go do a pitch at that link, to pull in the folks I know in the field who have inspired me in big ways, small ways, and all the ways. And I am grateful to have Jacquez here with us. Thank you, Folio, for the sponsorship. As always, I continue to be Helena Gardner. This has been Here's the Story. Thank you so much, Jacquez.
You're welcome.
And we,
Have a good day.
thank you. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.